prayer. But it's all the same thing, the worship of the sun, or Tammuz, and various other idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. So you had Jake eating abominations, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised. All right. That's why when you read about Timothy, all right, Paul had circumcised him. Because why? Because the Jews knew that his father followed the ways of the Greeks. All right, and he didn't want that to be what? A stumbling block to what? To other Israelites. Because you know how Jake is. Jake be nitpicking, man. They try to find the smallest thing to or the smallest thing to be an excuse for them not to do what's right. You know, they'd be like, "Oh, look, see, we know his father followed the Greek way, so you know we're not gonna listen to him because he's not circumcised. He's not following the laws. Yada yada yada." All right, and it's like that today. You got Jakes like that, man. They hear you tell them something simple, and then they try to justify doing wickedness, or they try to find an excuse for them not to listen to you because they wicked, man. All right, because they don't understand anything. All right, so this is talking about the history. This is why you come to understand why you had people like Timothy, whose father was a Greek, meaning he was fully into the ways of the Greeks, and he raised his son up in that way. But because he's an Israelite and his spirit was drawn to the word, all right, the gospel, he wanted to follow the Lord because he was an Israelite, not no damn heathen, man. All right, because you still got simple ass niggas out there trying to say that Cornelius is an Edomite, or that what is that? Now I'm talking about people doing this willfully. They ain't serious about the scriptures, like Zabak. Alright? It's already been proven, and this simple ass nigga, he keeps saying he's an Edomite, or like that nigga Butter Knife, we call him Butter Knife. Alright? Captain Estrogen, I'm gonna call him that for now. Source Cut Sharply, or aka Captain Estrogen. That nigga saying that Cornelius is a Japhite, man. Alright? Because of madness, man. Because the spirit's not working with him to understand that you had Israelites, alright, that's fathers was taking on these things. Alright? Which we gonna prove real quick. I ain't gonna try to make this too long. Alright? And many other people out there, the 14th Street bitch Israelites, who's all up on that Queen of Heaven madness. Alright, them niggas. Alright? They don't understand the Israelite foreigners, man, which is a major part of understanding the gospel. Okay? Alright, First Maccabees 1:48. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and to make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, till the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And you see that with wicked ass niggas, Jason, who tried to become a high priest, which he did because he had Onias put to death so he can get that position. You can read that in Second Maccabees. Alright, and what did he do? He led Jake straight into that madness. Alright, and it persuaded many others to do that. That's where you come to understand why the Israelites that was in Jerusalem, that knew they was Israelites and that was following the law, how they hated the other Jews that was whose fathers had followed after the Greeks. All right. It says, whosoever, verse 50. It said that whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. All right. So you had many Israelites that just complied to it because they didn't want to get put to death. All right. And then you had wicked ass ones that did it because they wanted to be wicked. Alright? Come on now. First Maccabees 1:51. And in the self same matter wrote he to the whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judea to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for security. Now in the 15th day of the month of Caslu, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and built idol altars throughout the cities of Judea on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. And whosoever was found with any of the book of the testimony, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should be put to death. Alright? So now you're starting to come to the realization why Jake had such a hatred, alright, for the Israelite foreigners. Because their forefathers did these things, man. Alright? Alright? 2 Maccabees chapter 2 verse 6. It says, Now not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers, and not to live after the laws of God, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius, and that in Garizim of Jupiter the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people, for the temple was filled with riot and revilings by the Gentiles. So these were heathens that have no part in the temple. They came in there and they was partying and doing wickedness, man, with dealing with harlots. So they was dealing with hoes in the temple, and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, and besides that brought in things that were not lawful. And the altar also was filled with profane things which the law forbid. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep the Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. Alright? And in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifice. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus, carrying ivory. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles, the heathen, should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery. Alright, so you come to find out what? That in Antioch, alright, starting all the way back during the time of the Greeks, you had a lot of Greek Jews, like Hellenized Jews, living there that were following what? The customs of the heathen. So when the disciples got dispersed, they went and spoke to them. Alright? And you had many that repented and came back to the Lord. Alright? Get this in Acts. Acts 21 and 17. Alright, Acts chapter 21 verse 17. It says, And when we were come to Jerusalem, the brethren received us gladly. And the day following, Paul went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present. And when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things the Most High had wrought among the Gentiles by his ministry. Alright, go to John 7:33 real quick. John 7:33. It says, Then said Yahushua unto them, Yet a little while, and I am with you, and then I go unto him that sent me. Ye shall seek me, and shall not find me, and where I am, thither ye cannot come. Then said the Jews among themselves, Whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles, and teach the Gentiles? Alright, dispersed is talking about who? The Israelites. And then they refer to them as heathens, and teach them heathens. Alright, so now that scripture, it makes sense, because you understand the history, that you had Jakes that were following after the ways of the heathen, and the Jews that was in Jerusalem, even though these were Jakes, these were Israelites, their brethren, that they said will teach the Gentiles. It was talking about who? The Israelites that were scattered amongst the other nations. Alright. Alright, so back to Acts chapter 21 and 18. Alright. It said, And the day following Paul went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present. And when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things the Most High had wrought among the Gentiles. Who was among the Gentiles? The Israelite foreigners. Alright? By his ministry. Because Paul didn't go to no heathens. Okay? And when they heard it, they glorified the Lord and said unto him, Thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Jews there are which believe, that are all zealous of the law. Alright? Talking about the Jews that were in Jerusalem. Alright? And they are informed of thee, that thou teachest all. No, he teaches the heathen. It says that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles. Alright, that thou teachest all the Jews, Israelites, he went to Israelites, which are among the Gentiles, the other nations, to forsake Moses, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after the customs. Alright, so who did Paul went to? He went to Israelites. Alright, and who was he teaching at Antioch? Jews. Alright, Israelites. Alright. That's why you had the understanding, or you got to get the understanding of who Paul was going to. Alright. Alright, go to Galatians chapter 2. And 5. I'm gonna wrap this up, alright? This portion of scripture and then another one, and then I'm finished. It says, to whom we give, Galatians 2 and 5, to whom we gave place by subjection, no, not for an hour, that the truth of the gospel might continue with you. But these who seem to be somewhat, whatsoever they were, it makes no matter to me, God accept no man's person, for they were seen to be somewhat in conference, adding nothing to me. Talking about when Paul went to Jerusalem, him and Barnabas went to Jerusalem, alright, to make sure that what they was teaching to the Israelite foreigners, the Jews that were living amongst